going into a political economy conversation now where former President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane Zuma, took the hot seat today at the state capture inquiry. Duduzane's name has been mentioned in cases of alleged state capture as a facilitator in meetings between politicians and the Guptas. CNBC Africa's Karabo Letlhatlha joins us now live. Now, Karabo, thank you so much for making the time to join us on this. A lot of testimonies today that are piquing a lot of national conversation. Can you just maybe start us off with some of the earlier conversations where you looked at earlier testimony?
What a day it has been here on the State Capture Commission. Sure, without the fanfare that the police were expecting, they were out here in numbers, but they did not get the political supporters of Duduzane Zuma that they thought they were going to get. Instead, they got a very cavalier, if you will, Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane, who didn't seem very bothered about that. But if you could sum up his testimony here in a nutshell, Duduzane Zuma came here pretty much in the same mold as his father to come and really fight off and ward off some of the allegations that have been made about him being a facilitator, a middleman for the Guptas to do business with government by roping in some of the senior government officials to come here and speak to the Gupta's needs and what they were eyeing, essentially. But today was really more about the accusations that have been leveled against Jacob Zuma. We dealt with Mcebisi Jonas, former deputy finance minister, earlier, who said he was offered 600,000 rand in cash, 600 million rand as a further payment to take up the position of finance minister, something which he says he didn't. He really refused outright with the contempt that it deserves. Duduzane Zuma says there was a meeting, but there was no offer made. It was really a meet and greet between him and Rajesh Gupta, who, by the way, Fana Hlongwane, in his testimony to the public protector back then, said that Rajesh was not even at that meeting. So it's really a back and forth, people denying accusations. But I thought there was an interesting moment where the evidence leader, Philip Mokoena, who specifically went to town to try and paint a picture for Duduzane Zuma about his shareholding and just how close that was to the fact that he was doing business with government through Infinity Media, which he had a shareholding in, which had a shareholding in ANN7, and some of the business that they were able to derive from there. I thought Duduzane Zuma's answer really kind of puts paid to some of these allegations, that he almost doesn't appreciate the meaning of conflict of interest. Let's check out this clip.
Paragraph 30.12, it's right at the bottom. He stood at the PCR for another 15 minutes and then moved towards the door. Laksim Atul Nazim Duduzane, and I saw him off. I take it that him was the president, the then president. He said he was happy before he left. Atul assured him that the station would be run as per his guidance and wishes. Do you recall this happening?
I recall the event, seeing him off. That is correct, that did happen.
Interesting, Karabo, that in addition to showing up or embodying his father's posture, that memory seems to be an interesting challenge that is shared between father and son as well. But there was also other personalities in the hot seat today. Maybe let's talk a little bit about former Minister Letlhatlha, who was at the time Minister of the Department of Mineral Resources. What is coming out of that testimony?
Absolutely correct there. When Waku Ramatlhodi was here to testify in front of this commission, he spoke about, after being appointed the Minister of Mineral Resources in South Africa, that he got a lot of congratulatory messages. One of them was Duduzane Zuma, who insisted that they must meet, and he tried to ward off that meeting. But he says after countless approaches, he finally relented to a meeting at St. George's Hotel in Cape Town. He said there, Duduzane Zuma said that he had heard word that Waku Ramatlhodi was bad-mouthing bad-mouthing him. Going around, he had heard from Indian counterparts that he had been bad-mouthing him, so much so that he had told his father, then President Jacob Zuma. But he also said that, he also said that Duduzane Zuma insisted that he must meet RJ Gupta, otherwise known as Rajesh Gupta, that he insisted very much so. But Ngwaku Ramahlodi said that Duduzane was like a nephew to him, like many other nephews of struggle partners and friends, that if he had a problem with him, he would have approached him directly. Now, this was a part of the extract of Duduzane Zuma really denying essentially what his uncle told this commission here today. Let's check out that particular clip.
As I'm saying, any formal sitting with Minister Ramahlodi has never happened, whether it's St. George's or anywhere else. And as I stated, I have bumped into him in a number of places, but that's been in passing.
Well, I don't know whether you would call this, if the meeting that he's talking about, a formal meeting, but in other words, you say that you have not at any stage in the past ever accused him or complained to him that you had that he was mouthing you or your companies and so on. You have never had any discussion along those lines with him?
No, I haven't had that discussion with him, Chair.
Yes, okay.
So all these details that is putting from these paragraphs, he's simply imagining them. They never happened.
More than that, just it's an environmental issue, because now we've spent a whole page printing.
Duduzane Zuma, the environmentalist. More than this, we wasted a page, he says. These stand as things that have been put together, versions against Duduzane Zuma, which is simply denying as it never happened, I don't remember, really inferring to the fact that he doesn't actually remember those things happening. But Duduzane Zuma stands accused, at least by Johan Boysens and former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas, of haphazardly, all of a sudden, in the middle of their meeting, whisking them away to that infamous compound of the Guptas in Saxon World without their prior knowledge. There will be more testimony here tomorrow. Duduzane Zuma has brought two advocates which will be leading him in counter testimony. The first one was Michael Hallens, and he is done for the day, and the next one will be coming tomorrow, and that's Advocate Lowe.